Hello, good morning, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. It is match day. Yes, in this busy festive period, we are into our second game of this four-game festive period. Obviously, after losing to St Mirren on Thursday, Rangers will look to bounce back today against Motherwell at Fir Park. Another away game, another trial of our awful, genuinely poor away form. I think the away form, obviously, at this moment in time is genuinely shocking. I think this was the stat I shared with you the other day. Where's that gone? There it is. Our Rangers Scottish Premiership away form: played 8, won 3, drawn 1, lost 4, goals for 7, goals against 8, only 10 points from our 8 games. A pretty shocking return this season. So, a game today that once again we've got to kind of look to open up and kind of go for it a little bit and try and at least get 3 points today. Another defeat is quite unthinkable, and I think does beg the question: if we were to lose today to Motherwell, is that another game that Philippe Clement can survive? We're going to look, obviously, we're going to look at a bit of the news. We're going to look at possible team selections. We're going to look at Ianis Hagi and what he's been saying to the media pre-game. He spoke to the media ahead of today's game. Look at the past history of the results at Fir Park, which are pretty nice reading, actually. And we'll look back at the last time we lost at Fir Park, which was an awful long time ago, with some players who are a definite blast from the past. Let's start off, though, with talking a little bit about Ianis Hagi. Now, Ianis has been one of our key players since he's returned to the club, returning to the starting lineup. I suppose he did return to the club, didn't he, technically, because he came back from Alavés on loan. Hagi has been, pretty good so far. He's been the guy who's kind of dictated the play. He's controlled the attack. He's linked at midfield and attack. His passing has been incisive. He's varied the play. He's been quite good. But, on Thursday, along with virtually the entire team, he was actually quite poor. Hagi wasn't great, was he? He did play very, very poorly against St Mirren. I'll be honest with you. I think only Danilo and Raskin emerged with any credit from that Thursday game. Obviously, Danilo for his goal and Raskin for the fact that we looked a whole lot better once he came on in the second half. We are going to touch on what Nicholas Raskin brings to the team and why he has to start, despite the fact that. Despite the fact that he is only one booking away from being suspended for the Old Firm game, but we will talk a little bit about that shortly. Anyway, what did Ianis have to say to the media today? And look, I think we need a Ianis back on form, especially obviously going into that game on the 2nd of January. But I think like a lot of people have said, and I think we all need to think of tomorrow. We take this one game at a time. You face this one game at a time. There's no point looking ahead to the Celtic game yet. This is a game we've got to get through today. A defeat today and to go 15 points behind, with the likelihood that they probably win their game today, it realistically puts us in an impossible position where, even if we were to beat them in the unlikely event we were to beat them on the 2nd, it comes back down to 12 points, which is an impossible mountain to climb. So we need another Ianis Hagi masterclass, another quality performance from the player, him to get back to the the level that he has been putting in pre that game against St Mirren. So what did he have to say to the media? This is what he said when he was speaking ahead of the game. He says, "We understand the position that we are in the league and the difference of points." I think, it's nice for someone actually to come out and say, we realise, we understand, it's not good. That's what he's effectively saying there. Something the manager certainly hasn't done so far. There are still plenty of football to be played, and hopefully games like Thursday will make us understand what it takes to win games at this time of year. We play for the fans and the history of this club. We are not happy with how we played on Thursday, and hopefully we can get back on track on Sunday. We'll come back to that. This is the time of the year where you need to play the full 90 minutes at your best. Well, the Ianis is not just now, it's across the entire season, mate. There was 2 different halves against St Mirren, and we need to learn and move on from that. How has 24 been for myself? It's been a roller coaster of emotions. That's the best sentence for it. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying my football, and I really feel like there's a lot of exciting things ahead of me. Hopefully, I can help the team every game and bring my qualities on a daily basis at this football club. I mean, taking what he said there, taking what Yanis spoke about, you know, in that comment that he made, you know, I think he has seemed does seem to have a handle on, you know, where we are as a club, what we need to do as a club, and what is expected of the players. You know, the fact that, you know, you have to play for the full 90, you have to give everything, you have to give everything for the shirt, for the fans, and for this club. And you know, it's refreshing to hear someone at least talk like that. You know, it's not the usual rubbish that Tav comes out with when he's interviewed, you know, like, oh, we're disappointed, we'll learn from it, blah, de, blah, de, blah. So, you know, at least it's refreshing that what Yanis has to say in terms of that he does seem to have an understanding of what is expected and what we need to do in the next game. You know, it's good that he's enjoying the football, and I think, you know, he's right. It has been an absolute roller coaster of emotions for himself. You know, given the fact that at one point he was kicked out to the B team because of the contract dispute, allegedly. But now he's back, and he's proving what I think we all wanted, and we all knew that he's a quality footballer. And I think, you know, he deserves real credit for that, because he you know, he could have quite easily thrown his toys out the pram, refused to play, you know, kicked off, demanded a move, demanded his contract was torn up, all of those things. But you know, at the end of the day, you've got to say, Yanis has done the right thing. You know, he stuck at it, he trained, he played well. You know, he's done everything that's been asked of him as a player, and that's you know, that's spot on. You know, he said as well that it was a game of two halves. I mean, such a football cliche, that, isn't it? A game of two halves against St Mirren on Thursday, and he said that we know that we need to learn and move on from that. And I think he's right. You know, we do need to start to get 90-minute performances. You know, really do need 90-minute performances, and not just 50-minute, 60-minute, 70-minute performances. You know, Rangers need to start putting in full team 90-minute displays and not taking their foot off the gas, not trying, not conceding a goal or something going wrong, or them getting booed for something to actually happen, or something to them to actually respond. So, you know, Yanis, very, very, you know, refreshing to hear him say all those things. Now, he went on to say this. He said, everyone could see it was two different halves, and obviously this time of the year, when you play away, it's not enough to play for one half with the standard of Rangers. It wasn't good enough. We need to be more dynamic and understand that this time of the year is really important for this football club. Hopefully we get the 3 points and we move on. I've got to say that the bits that stand out for me really do stand out for me from what he's just said. He said in that part of the quote in the interview that he gave was that it wasn't good enough. It's actually, you know, genuinely refreshing to hear a footballer talk like that. You know, you're not going to get that off Clement, who's going to give you stats and rubbish and waffle and all that. You know, Tavernier is going to come out with the same old rubbish, you know. So it's refreshing for Hagi to say, you know, it wasn't good enough. It just isn't acceptable. And he talks about Rangers' standards as well. And I think, you know, Yanis is perhaps one of the few players who actually does understand and does get Rangers' standards. You know, what is the standard of this club? You know, the standard is the standard. The standard is to win trophies. The standard is to be the very best. The standard is to always give your all. The standard is to show fight and heart and guts and passion. And I think Hagi gets that. And there are a few players in the squad that do get that. Unfortunately, there is a number that don't. But, you know, certainly to hear Yanis talk like that is very positive. And hopefully, you know, Yanis he's one of the senior players in the club. And, you know, Yanis needs to take a leadership role now. And hopefully that's something that he can put across to those players, that standard that we saw on Thursday wasn't good enough, that we need to increase in that standard, and to tell these players what the Rangers standard exactly is. You know, he needs to do something. You know, there we go. Anyway, what else? You know, let's move it on a little bit. And let's have a little look at a possible Rangers starting lineup. Now, I've given up trying to project what Philippe Clement will do in terms of starting lineups. You know, I've really, you know, really sort of given up on trying to think about, you know, what Clement will do, how he'll line up. You know, he tinkers an awful lot. He unnecessarily changes the team from time to time, and I think at times that unsettles the team and it causes the poor disjointed performances. You know, if you look at teams that consistently play well, that consistently perform, they tend to keep the same sort of units in the key positions, and perhaps it's one player here, one player there that gets rotated through. You know, you certainly look at the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal down south of the border, and they very much keep the same types of 11s with just the odd player changing in and changing out. So let's obviously, hope that he can keep a consistency of selection tomorrow. Now, one of the big mistakes for me that he made on Thursday was not selecting Nicholas Raskin. Now, and that's easy to say with hindsight, of course it is. I get why he did it, because, he said that he didn't want to risk, Raskin getting a booking and being suspended for the old firm. But, surely football managers all say that we take one game at a time and we look at what's in front of us and we try to beat what's in front of us. We don't think about the next game or a game 2 games down the line. And, to be honest with you, in a game that we had to win, you resting your best player, the player who's been the best player so far this season, is absolutely ludicrous. So, I get why, but I don't get why, if you get what I kind of mean on that. Now, Raskin has to play today. He has to. Forget the fact that he could get booked and suspended. He's got to play. The team looked so disjointed. It looked so poor in the first half without him. Yet second half, Raskin comes on and there's an improvement. Not a good enough improvement, but still an improvement in performance. So for me, Raskin has to start. He is that metronome at the base of the midfield, the man who keeps things ticking over, the man who breaks up attacks, the man who starts things off, the man who really keeps this team and the momentum moving forward. So, Raskin for me has to start against St Mirren today. Now, my starting 11 would be looking like this. Now, perhaps, perhaps it is kind of a little bit of a shock with some of the selections, but let's go through it. So, I think Jack Butland needs a game off. I think he really does. I don't think his head's in it. I think his head's all over the place. I think obviously, he's new family and let's give him some time off. Put Liam Kelly in. This is his former club. He's going to play better against his former club. How many times have we been, done by one of our former players? And, I think this is a perfect opportunity for Liam Kelly to go out there, get a bit of abuse and show off and be, the best he can be. So I'm going to put Kelly in goal. I don't think that'll happen, but, there we go. Back four, James Tavernier, Dujon Sterling, Robin Propper, and I'm going to put Ridvan Yilmaz at left back. Tav has to start right back because, no matter what you think of Tav, and we've all got our opinions on him, and he was poor on Thursday, really, really poor. And the tone was kind of set, wasn't it, in the first half when Greg Kilty absolutely skinned him. He absolutely skinned him. And he spent the rest of the game just running past him at will. And it still is a worry that Tav has no pace anymore and that left wingers can just go past him as they see fit. So, yes, that's a concern. But the problem we have at the moment is that obviously Castanweijo is out injured, possibly for the whole season, possibly till late January, who knows, possibly never to return. John Suter is injured still. Leon Balogun is now injured. Leon King doesn't seem to be fancy. Clint Enciala doesn't seem like he's going to be even considered for first team football. So we're kind of limited in what we can do, and it absolutely scares the shit out of me that we could go to Ibrox, next week against Celtic and have Sterling and Propper as our central defensive pair. I thought Sterling looked all right on Thursday up until that ridiculous moment when he runs out, loses the ball, and they score. Propper just looked like an absolute bomb scare. He looks so uncomfortable in that St Mirren game. As he always tends to against physical teams, doesn't he? He always does tend to struggle up against the physical sides. So, look, at the end of the day, Propper is going to start because there is nothing else. He doesn't seem to fancy Leon King. He's already kind of said that he doesn't see Enciala as a start this season. He's a project player, but more of a project than Hamza. So, it's going to be Propper. And it's probably going to be Propper and Sterling against Celtic. And that absolutely scares the crap out of me. So much so that I'd actually rather recall Ben Davies and have Ben Davies at left side centre half against Celtic than I would Robin Propper. I'd give Ridvan the start. I think Ridvan needs some confidence. I thought Yefte was poor on Thursday. Give Ridvan a chance. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can get back to his best. And also put him in the shop window. I do think, there's been some reports doing the rounds that Turkish clubs are sniffing around him again. So, perhaps a little bit of money to be made there. And I think, he's one of the sellable assets, considering, we have Yefte, we have Robbie Fraser as a backup. So, there is a possibility that we could sell him, I'm going to go with Barron and Raskin in midfield. Raskin to sit at the base. Barron to get a bit of license to go forward and get involved. Now, Barron didn't play that well in the first half, but Dio was equally as shocking. So I'm going to go with Barron and Raskin there. Hadji in the 10 role. I just think Hadji's wasted out wide. He doesn't work well out wide. I'm going to rest Bayrami because Bayrami was absolutely garbage on Thursday. Tierney right, Hamza left, Danilo up top. You've got to start with the two strikers. Now, people talk about us playing a 4-4-2. I don't think we do play a 4-4-2 when Hamza and Danilo start. I think it's more a 4-3-3 and they drift and they move. And we play the 4-3-3 in the same way that Liverpool used to with Salah, Mane and Firmino, where there was that, that mobility up the top. And they moved around to cause the defence the maximum possible chaos and the maximum possible unsettlement. So that's why I think that this would work more effectively. Hamza goes left, Danilo goes middle, Danilo goes left, Hamza goes middle, and so on and so forth. Rotate round, sow that seed of doubt in defenders' minds. I certainly don't want to see Cyril Dessers up top tomorrow. I mean, it does scare the shit out of me that he'll start him tomorrow. And if he does, then I think boring game until we get him off. He's got no mobility. He can't hold the ball up. And the midfielders don't look as confident when Dessers is playing up there. So for me, it's got to be... I mean, you've got to surely start Danilo tomorrow because the guy just scored. The guy scored on Thursday, actually looked lively, actually looked a threat. So for me, if he doesn't start Danilo, what does that say to Danilo? And what does that actually say in terms of Clement and his thinking? And I think, again, it just shows that he's kind of lost it a little bit if he doesn't start Danilo. So that's for me, is my starting 11. Now, Motherwell obviously come off the back of a 4-0 against Celtic. We all know the player to watch today, that is Lennon Miller. They're fantastic teenager, quality player. A guy who came up through the academy at the same time as Bailey Rice was described as not the same player as Bailey Rice, not even in the same class as Bailey Rice. Yet Lennon Miller has really kicked on because he's been given the opportunity, whereas Bailey Rice doesn't seem to be doing anything really. Thanks to the fact that Rangers don't seem to trust their kids. Now, in the month of December, Motherwell have performed as such. They started December off with a very disappointing 4-1 defeat at Dens Park before a 1-0 win at St Mirren, a place where we obviously lost 2-1. Then there was a 4-3 against a resurgent Dundee United, who that's a very good result at Fir Park at home, given how well Dundee are playing this season. Another draw this time at Fir Park, a 1-1 with Killy. And obviously last time out, they lost 4-0 to Celtic. So mixed results in December, coming into the month of December. But, some impressive results nonetheless. A win at St Mirren, never an easy place to go. A win against a resurgent Dundee United. So, certainly Motherwell are going to be no pushovers. And we saw that in the League Cup semi-final when, for 45, 50, 55, 60 minutes, they really did give us a game and they looked the better side at times. So, they will give us a game. And I think if we turn out and we play like we did first half against St Mirren, we could be in for a very, very long afternoon. I mean, certainly history is on our side. I mean, you look at the fact that of the 44 games that we played against Motherwell, we've won 27 of them, which is just over half. They've won 5 and there's been 12 draws. Draws obviously been the second highest, so that shows how often Motherwell beat us, even at their home ground. In terms of results, so last time out against them was obviously the League Cup semi-final. We won that 2-1. These are all games at Fir Park. I didn't see the point looking at the Ibrox games. We look at the Fir Park games. 2-0. 4-2. I remember Tillman scoring in that game. A 2-1, a 3-1, a 6-1. What I'd give for that today. A 1-1. That was the last draw. That was the last non-win against them. So, we're coming off the back of 6 straight victories over them at, the League Cup obviously was Hamlet's, a 5 straight at Fir Park. A 5-1, a 2-0, a 3-0 and a 3-3. So on the whole, we do tend to score goals against them in these games, and we don't tend to see Fir Park as a place that we fear coming to. So that's all positive in terms of that. Now, the last time we lost to St Mirren at Fir Park was during the Premiership playoffs in 2015, so 9 years ago. A 3-0 defeat that day. In 2015, Craig Thompson was the referee that day, and Stuart McCall was our manager that day. This was our team that lined up and was beaten on the day. Boyd and Miller up top, Murdoch, Law and Vukic, Ferguson, Wallace, Zalukis, McCullough, Foster and Bell in goal. Subs of Simonson, Bilal Mahaney, Stephen Smith, Robbie Crawford, Dean Shields, Tom Walsh and Nicky Clark. And the manager, like I said, was Stuart McCall. There's some very average players in that lineup and some very interesting names from the past. It'd be interesting to see any memories you have of that game. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, that was the last time we lost to them 9 years ago at Fir Park. So hopefully that is a record we can continue today in today's game. Now we need to get away today from being that moments team that I talked about yesterday, and we need to be a team that plays consistently for 90 minutes, that plays as a team, that plays good, fast, hard, attractive, attacking football and doesn't mess around with the ball. That's something we definitely do need to do in this game. Look, in terms of predictions, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Rangers win, because let's face it, I'm not going to go for us to get beat. The 2-1 Rangers win. Guys, let me know your predictions in the comments down below. Look forward to joining me later for the live watch along. So please come and join us for that. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, guys, on the way out, please smash the sub, the like, the comment, do all that fantastic stuff and help the channel. Thanks for watching. We are the people.